Hello, welcome to Sideways. Listen to those birds. When I hear them, I feel a frisson of excitement. And I thought it would be nice to share that with you in this festive season. I've got no idea what we're talking about on this week's episode because I'm recording this on a bright, cold, very early Sunday morning. The sky is completely clear and the birds, as you can hear, are treating us to a cacophony of delightful sound. So all I can tell you is that we are talking about Frisson, and if you are someone who celebrates, to wish you a happy festive season, and we'll be back in the new year. Frisson.
What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at your background.
It's a snowy, Christmassy theme.
Yeah, I'm laughing because firstly, I didn't expect it. And secondly, you're the last person I expect to have anything festive anywhere near you.
Well, you know I'm trying to make an effort this year, don't you?
Yeah, how is that going?
Not well. Not well.
I was wondering if you might be able to give me a few examples of how successful you're being.
No.
Actually, I've got my microphone because last week my sound was a bit manky. Let's see if that helps. I don't want people being able to hear you better than they can hear me. That's quite
That would be a
upsetting.
travesty, wouldn't it?
The thought of it is quite an upsetting thing. Yeah, so how is it going then?
All right, but I still feel the pressure of it and the stress of it all. But yeah.
All right, well, it's not a therapy session, Christ.
I think it's just the season, as you know. It's not just Christmas per se.
No.
Just the whole wintry shite that goes on. Still, but thinking about it, it's not long until the shortest day, and then we start marching on towards summer, don't we?
That's true, and it must be a relief that you're not knee-deep in Pernod and Black anymore these days.
Well, I never was particularly.
Well, you know what I mean. Sort of. I was using that as a sort of generic.
Yeah. Although I did used to pop a Pernod on top of a snake bite sometimes, just to give a bit of kick.
Pernod on top of a snake bite?
Yeah,
wow,
yeah.
I've heard that. Is that a kind of genuine drink?
Yeah, Yeah. Pernod and Black on top of a lager and cider mix. Yeah.
Right. I thought that was just rummaging around in the cupboard, see what you.
It sounds a bit like that, doesn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, we don't want to glorify drink, do we?
No, we don't, and it's a long lost memory.
Yeah.
And what it doesn't do, it doesn't give me any glimmers that we talked about last week.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it? Would it?
It wouldn't do. And we're following on nicely from last week's podcast on glimmers.
Well, we'll be the judge of that.
Okay. Well, I wanted to talk to you about a frisson, which can a frisson. I'll explain what it is in a moment, but it can either come on directly or indeed during a glimmer. So it can go just after or just before or during a glimmer. So they're all nicely interconnected.
Tell me, I think I'm right in saying that's the first time we've had a title that is in which we've used a word other than a word in the English language.
I think it is. I think
its origin is not English; it's French, I imagine.
It is French, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is when you spell it out, I've known people have used the phrase and call it frisson. But
Frisson.
Yeah. So it looks like when it's spelt in the English language, but it is, frisson.
Frisson.
Is how it's supposed to be pronounced. But anyway, before we start,
yeah, there's
a couple of things. I just wanted to know how you felt about this story, okay? Because it was a story about a roller coaster.
Oh, I already don't like it.
Well, yeah, it was at a festival in Wisconsin, and it came to a halt right at the top of a huge loop. And the
upside down?
Upside down. The passengers were hanging there for 3 hours. Can you imagine that?
No. I mean, well, okay. Do you want me to tell you how I feel about that story?
Yeah.
I think I can answer that question by telling you that Have you ever been to Legoland?
I have, yes.
Okay. I don't know if you're familiar with it or if you can remember, but at Legoland there's a very kind of small, gentle monorail which kind of gives you a look around the park really at its highest point, which is probably no more than half the height of a normal house.
Yeah, no, I can't really remember.
I was in a proper panic on that.
Were you?
Yeah, I absolutely hated it.
Wow. So this thought of hanging upside down for 3 hours. I mean, you can't imagine. I mean, you'd have thought, wouldn't you, that they'd have had some sort of system to bring people down quite quickly. I mean, but obviously not.
Well, I think probably my stress levels would have risen so high, I'd have just unstrapped myself and ended it all.
Just felt, yeah.
Just end the misery.
Yeah, 3 hours worth. I mean,
3 hours upside down.
Apparently they did bring them down all safely, but obviously there was children on it. They're all severely traumatised by that. I mean, it's
well, that's all new. That's all potential custom, isn't it?
Well, for you, it is. Yeah. Oh, indeed, they turn to addiction later on. You're right.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah. What would have happened if you had a coffee on you?
Can you imagine?
Troublesome, isn't it?
It would. I mean, in the old days, change would have fallen out of your pockets, but less people have cash these days.
Well, you've always got an emergency tenner.
Of course, yeah, and I've used it on more than one occasion, so that's just being organised. But I think,
if you tucked into your emergency tenner for some reason that day,
yeah,
and you had a pocket full of change, someone might have been hurt underneath that pound coin on the head,
or happy because it was raining money. But I suspected your reaction would be exactly as it was.
Absolutely horrendous. I mean, you'd never get me on a roller coaster. That would be one of the things that I just never.
No, that doesn't fill me with a great deal of joy, I must admit.
Would you do a charity sky jump thing?
No, absolutely not. No, would you?
No, obviously not. No.
You those teacups at the fairs? They scare you, don't they? You sit in those.
I wouldn't be able to do those. I wouldn't be able to do those.
Too spinny.
those games where you hold out a rod and you have to pick up a duck.
Oh yeah.
I could do one of those for charity.
Could you? Yeah, at a distance. You have to have a long.
Yeah, I'd have to be quite significant sponsorship. But I'd probably risk that.
Oh dear, oh dear. Well, I'm going to go.
Not those teacups though. I must have told you before about the time when, for some reason, I was coaxed onto the waltzer by my father at the fairground when I was small. Crikey. I was so terrified. I had some candy floss and I stuffed it into his trousers. He came off looking like he had a massive pink pubic hair,
a pink beard, load. Well, that just seems a bizarre thing to do to relieve your tension. But if it worked, mate.
Well, I think I was just in a flap. I didn't know where to put my candy floss. I mean, sometimes you don't, do you? We've all been there.
Well, of course we have. You'll get caught with candy floss anxiety.
Yeah. CFA, as we call it.
I want to go on to it's quite a nasty headline that I just wanted to read to you, okay? And you may go a bit, ooh, like that. Yeah. But anyway, we'll test it. So the headline was worm from pet dog.
Oh.
Worm from pet dog hatched inside woman's forehead and then crawled into her eye. How about that?
Yeah, back in the day, that would have been one of the headlines you would have collected, wouldn't it?
It would have been. I mean, yes, apparently the doctors removed a 4-inch parasitic worm from her eyelid after it had burrowed into her forehead and grew there for a month.
How did she not know there was something amiss?
It was irritating her, obviously, and obviously I didn't.
Oh, I suppose what having a worm in her eyelid?
Yeah.
Did she not go and get it checked out?
Well, it started in the forehead and crawled through, but yeah, so it'd been living.
As most worms do.
Well, they love it, don't they? They love an eyelid to go to. But it was, I can imagine that was, and it showed pictures of her with quite a swollen eyelid when I was looking at the report.
That sounds absolutely horrendous.
It's a horrendous headline, isn't it?
The other thing that strikes me about that headline is it doesn't really leave anything to the imagination, does it? I mean,
no.
The story after that. I mean, it's all said, isn't it, in there?
It pretty much sums it up. But I did want to know. I read through because I did want to know, how big the worm was and all that.
Yeah,
you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's the sort of thing you'd need to know, isn't it? It's necessary knowledge.
It is, isn't it? Definitely wouldn't. She wouldn't have got any frisson, would she? Out of that
I
little
very much
escapade.
doubt it. I very much doubt it.
Yeah. So anyway, frisson. We go on to that. It is a French term, as you say, and it means the English meaning is shiver or thrill.
Yeah.
And in psychology and neuroscience, it refers to a brief sort of intentional reaction that often manifests physically as chills, goosebumps, as we call them, or tingling sensation.
Yeah.
It's sometimes called an aesthetic chill, which is quite nice, isn't it?
Nice. What was the last thing that happened that gave you a frisson?
A bit of music.
Oh, okay.
A bit of music, and I'll come on to that in a minute.
Oh, will you?
Well, I'll come on to it almost immediately because I was looking at the common triggers. You segued it nicely for me there.
Thanks.
But there's several common triggers to give people frisson.
All right, I'm going to go write them down. Yeah.
Well, the first one is music.
Music, yeah.
And that's especially pieces with sort of dynamic shifts or unexpected harmonies or emotionally charged vocals.
So Genesis or Boston.
That would be trigger.
Is that what you're talking about? They give you a frisson?
No, that would trigger me immensely, and I'm feeling a bit vulnerable right now. Now you've said that.
REO Speedwagon?
No, none of that. Thank you. But classical music, that gives me a sometimes.
Yes.
Film scores, apparently they
film scores. Okay, well, I mean that's still music, isn't it? But okay,
I'm still on the music area.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah.
Yeah. So film scores. I mean, do you things like? Do you remember Jaws? Do you remember that sort of?
Yeah, I don't think that would give me a frisson.
Would it be more scary?
I didn't really find Jaws very scary. I know. I mean, it's a classic film, isn't it? But I can't say I particularly enjoyed it.
No, it's one of the. I think it's a classic you had to see, but wouldn't particularly want to revisit.
I suppose so. Yeah. No, I don't remember film score. I can't think of a film score that gave me a frisson.
No, but you maybe listen out for them from here on in to see if you do.
Well, one of the tracks in ABBA the movie would have given me a frisson. I really enjoyed the song "Thank You for the Music," and I can remember when I first heard that. There was the melody in that had that impact on me, and my brother used to play it on the piano as well. So that was I don't know if that gave me frisson.
Well, I did jot down a few little numbers that I've come across while I was preparing this, but I won't go into them now. I'll go into them in a minute because I was going to because I'll come back to music because it's particularly laced with frisson for most people. But other areas apart from music, there's film and literature. So you can be watching a film, plot twists or moments of profound beauty or tragedy can
I can see that. I can see.
So that's either in film or literature. Visual art and nature. So
nature definitely. Yeah, I definitely get that in nature. I'm not sure about visual art so much, but I expect you'd get that when you're in visual art.
I think so. I do get
something nailed to a bit of wood, banana skin nailed to a bit of wood or something.
That wouldn't do it, but I think particularly I remember getting a bit, I suppose, with Salvador Dali. First time I saw, and even though I'd seen the picture before, when I saw it live, as it were, the real thing, the Metamorphosis of Narcissus was one of my favourites. It was one of the early paintings that got me into and enjoying that sort of that surrealism. So
how about some of my art? Has that ever given you a frisson?
It does in many ways. Yeah. Lifts my spirits. Put it that way. Other areas like personal memories or realisations.
Yeah,
if you can recall a sort of a deeply meaningful moment.
Yeah.
Like a first kiss with someone. Something like that.
Yeah. Or a second kiss.
Or indeed, many after that.
Or being left on Mason East Station.
That's the opposite end of the scale. I'm glad you keep bringing that up.
That gave me a frisson.
But other things like social or cultural moments, like you might listen to a particularly inspiring speech. Something like that, or ceremonies. I know people get a bit of frisson when they're watching like changing of the guard and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I probably got one when I was watching my daughter graduate.
There's one, isn't it? Oh yeah. Yes, I remember that as well. It is a lovely moment, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah. And there other things like national anthems, they said, or sports
Oh,
victories.
that definitely wouldn't. Not the national anthem wouldn't.
No, it doesn't to me. But like they might play something, a song after a goal's been scored. That can give me that sort of frisson sometimes if it's in the right net, obviously.
Yeah, I suppose if you're in a stadium and the national anthem's being sung, that can give you quite a
Yeah.
You kind of get caught up in the power of the moment, don't you?
Yeah, you would. Yeah, But watching anything live like that is going to have an extra layer on it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the goosebumps, as we've spot, they're also called a piloerection. Yeah, a piloerection.
Have you ever had a piloerection?
I have. So those
You're constantly having them, I expect.
But shivers and tingling down the spine or arms. That's where that's a physical sensation for frisson, or a slight increase in heart rate or respiration.
Wow.
Or feeling emotionally overwhelmed.
Just give us that again so I can refer to it properly in the future. Piloerection.
Piloerection, yeah. So it's Pilo and then erection. All one word.
That reminds me that the other day I learned that this fleshy bit on your elbow here.
Yeah.
It's called your weenus.
Is it?
Yeah.
What do you named that?
So this time of year when you're out in the shops, people keep putting their weenus in your ribs, don't they?
Yeah.
That's what made me think about. I could have thought of a different word for it. I mean, it's too close to another word, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, you get a lot of weenus in your ribs on the underground, don't you? Anyway, we're moving off subject slightly. But,
I don't know. That's giving me a frisson just thinking about that.
Just thinking about the underground. You can sometimes the frisson can give you a feeling of being emotionally overwhelmed or teary eyed. Do you have a little tear when the frisson comes on you?
Yeah, I think I can. I can't really think of any specific examples now, but I can certainly think of times where something's made me feel so emotional that I can kind of feel myself welling up. I tell you when it happens, and I don't think this isn't. I suppose it is a frisson if that's the definition of it. Sometimes that can happen sometimes that happens at work actually when someone's telling me. I mean, not when they're telling me something terrible, but when someone's telling me about some improvement they've made, some sort of. I mean, you must get that as well. It's really,
absolutely.
It really affects you, doesn't it? Because you feel like you're properly kind of invested in that story.
Yeah.
So that definitely happens.
Yeah, it does. It is nice when that happens. Certainly, especially when you see them improve so dramatically.
Yeah.
Over the weeks they're with us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just looking at the neurological and the psychological basis of frisson, because it's linked to dopamine release.
Yeah.
Which obviously, as we know, it's the neurotransmitter that's associated with pleasure and reward. So that gets stimulated, and it activates the autonomic. I can't even say that again. Autonomic nervous system.
Yeah, that's it.
I didn't get much of a frisson over that one. And I'm glad I'm moving on from some of these difficult words.
Shall I edit that out for you?
If you could, that'd be great. But it's considered a sort of a peak emotional experience.
Yeah.
Which is tied to the brain's prediction and surprise mechanism. So that's the only bit I wanted to go into, which is going to trip me up with these terms.
Oh, it's a shame, really, because it's quite funny when you trip up over a word.
Yeah, especially when you deliberately leave it in, which you will. I know I've left a gap there, so you could get rid of it.
I'm not going to.
No, I didn't think you were. So apparently, when they've done surveys on this, not everyone experiences frisson. And its intensity can vary widely as well.
Oh, that's a shame. If you're listening and you don't experience frisson, I feel sad for you.
Yeah, I think it's people that are sort of high in sort of an openness to experience. They're more likely to it. So if you've got that sort of personality trait,
right. So if you tend to be more closed emotionally, you might not experience.
No.
I bet some people are prevented from feeling it if they're on SSRIs, on antidepressants.
Yeah, almost definitely. And or when they're in the madness from, when they're on drink and drugs, it suppresses all those sort of emotions. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a new experience for people coming into recovery. We do talk about it. In fact, we talked about it in a group recently when we were talking about exactly this about films. I was asking, what's the last film that made you cry?
Yeah.
And it's quite surprising when people start to think about these things. And although I did come up with several people said, "Oh yeah, there's a TV program, Long Lost Family, that makes me cry."
Oh, blimey, yeah.
And
What's
I've
the
watched
last film that made you cry?
Well, I was
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
not as good as that. I think Carry On Up the Khyber. No, when I was doing this in group, I did offer my own. I said, I'll start the ball rolling. I had a tear at Schindler's List.
Yeah.
I thought it was I just found it really moving.
The only film I can absolutely remember being teary about was Kramer versus Kramer.
Oh, right, yeah.
But, yeah. And these days, if there were anything where something that would certainly make me feel sad would be if an animal was hurt in a film. But these days, of course, with Google, I just Google films if they've got an animal in it and check that no harm comes to the animal.
All right, so you do a bit of preparation ahead.
Yeah, I cannot be watching something if I'm all the time thinking, is that dog going to get hurt?
Yeah, like Marley and me.
Exactly. So I have to find out. And then if it says no harm comes to the dog. In fact, I read a book recently, a Kate Atkinson novel, Started Early, Took My Dog. It's part of a series. And I thought, there's going to be a dog in this. And I had to Google and find out nothing bad happened to the dog so that I could enjoy the book.
All right. And was it clear? Was the path clear on that?
Yeah, the path was clear, and when I heard that the path was clear, I had a little frisson.
That illustrates it perfectly, doesn't it? Just that.
Yeah.
That
I was going to say I got a pyrotechnic correction, but I couldn't remember the term.
Pilo or pilo erection.
Like Pilo rice.
Well, it's PILO, yeah. So
Pilo pie. Okay, I'm going to look that up because I don't know that term.
Well, you're going to look it up how to pronounce it, or
well,
you want to
Pilo or Pilo.
You want to explore it further.
Yeah, I want to use that. That's a phrase I definitely want to use in polite company.
It's a one you can bring up at a dinner party, isn't it?
Exactly, because as you can imagine, I go to a lot of dinner parties.
Yeah, I know you're a social butterfly. You like to spread your wings somewhat. Anyway, apparently, going back to music again, just touching on this. If you're musically trained or you're familiar with a certain piece, that can enhance the likelihood of frisson.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'd imagine, if you're learning the piano and you suddenly get a piece right, it must be magical. And empathy and emotional sensitivity also play a role in this. So again, being open to these sort of emotions will help you in that direction. But just exploring or expanding, I suppose, the music-specific features, because all the research I did, it kept coming back to music as being one of the major contributors of that.
Yeah.
And looking at an individual piece of music, apparently sudden changes in volume or tempo or key can spark this off.
Key. I certainly understand the change in key. I don't know about tempo and volume necessarily for me personally.
Tempo, I love songs with changes in tempo, and
I don't. I find that annoying.
Well, you wrote one, all right, which is one of my favourite songs you wrote. But I'll come back to that because the one that immediately sprang to mind was "Hell Is for Children" by Pat Benatar, which starts off.
Oh yeah, I do love that song actually.
And that kicks off beautifully, doesn't it? Halfway through.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
That change in tempo always gives me frisson. But the song you wrote called "See You There," which is a signature tune.
Oh yeah.
And that had a change in tempo, and I loved that song. I loved. We never recorded it, unfortunately, but it was one I used to love doing live. And I remember people often commenting how much they loved that song. So
maybe I do. Maybe I do get a frisson from a change of tempo.
Yeah.
I definitely can think of songs with a key change in them that really get me.
Yeah.
But I'm
think of any
to look. Huh?
You can't think of it. I had the benefit of thinking about this after I'd written these notes of certain things. But if you think of any, let me know or put it.
Well, I can tell you there's a James Taylor song which has a key change in it,
Yeah.
I can't remember what the song's called, but I remember the first time I heard that. I can tell you exactly where I was. I was in a taxi on my way to Leeds Castle for I think it might have been a do that you had arranged
Oh yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah.
And it was, I'll tell you what, it was the night that that Arsenal
Oh
Arsenal won the
yes.
league.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
And I heard this song for the first time, and there was a key change in it, and my whole body was like tingling. It was
Wow.
quite amazing, and I remember it as clear as if it was yesterday. And what are we going back sort of 25 years probably?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't remember the name of the song though. I'll have to think about it.
We'll do. We'll put it when this goes on Facebook. Perhaps we'll put some links into afterwards.
Yeah, because I'm quite good at doing those, aren't I?
Yeah, but I'll put some on for Pat Benatar, obviously, so people can have a listen to it.
Yeah.
We haven't got a recording of "See You There," unfortunately, but
No, and I definitely wouldn't be able to remember it to do an acoustic version.
no.
Right?
Unless Charles, because he used to record some of our practice sessions, didn't he? He might have it somewhere.
Yeah, because that would be a top quality recording, wouldn't
It'd be brilliant, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
But also I liked about that "See You There" track was
yeah.
you did some really nice backing vocals on it. It was like there's some great harmonies in it almost, and that
I don't even remember the song.
yeah, and it was it was sort of so again, Frisson can be evoked by unexpected harmonies or chord progressions, but certainly I remember the first time I heard some Beach Boys stuff, and the harmonies in that, I just thought, wow. And it still gets me now when I listen to like Sloop John B or something like that. Or,
Yeah.
anything.
Great harmonies. That's true, actually. Great harmonies are difficult to beat.
Yeah, they are. And also another an area of that music-specific features that can evoke frisson. The layering of instruments. Yeah, I had trouble with that one. It's late, isn't it? We're doing this after a day at work.
Yeah, the layering of instruments.
Yeah, and my thought on this was, I love watching those videos of flash mobs where you just start off with a simple cello or something like that, and then other things join in, and it layers and layers and layers, and the sound is just fantastic, and that gives me goosebumps when I watch the YouTube videos.
So lots, really. I mean, you like multiple overdubs, don't you?
Sure, yeah.
So it's kind of Boston type of thing.
No,
more than a feeling, that type of thing.
Don't keep dragging back to this awful American rock business you go on about.
Anyway, the James Taylor song's called "Baby Boom Baby."
Oh right, okay.
Yeah,
and that does it for you. That one, does it?
Yeah, I'm going to go and listen to it after we finish this and get myself a frisson.
Do so. And the next one, you might like to think of a song. It's one that did spring to mind when I was doing this research. Yeah. One of the music-specific features that can evoke frisson is silence followed by impact. So you'll have a sudden stop in a bit of music, and suddenly it cracks in again. And and the one that I'd always found very much like that was "Come Up and See Me, Make Me Smile" by Steve Harley.
Oh yeah, Steve Harley. Yeah,
you know, it was a great. It was really good the way it just stopped.
Yeah,
and it used to fox the DJs playing it on the radio in the day, because they'd start to go on to start to say something, and bang, in it came again.
Yeah, wasn't it John Cage who didn't he record something that was nothing but silence? Was that John Cage?
Well, I don't know. I don't. It can't be much of a bit.
It was. I think it was. I can't remember what it's called now. I'm pretty sure it's John Cage, and the entire piece was silence.
Yeah.
That's the sort of thing that you'd like, because that's the sort of, you'd say, if that were art, you'd say, well, it is quite clever, because I would say, well, I could have done that. And you said, you didn't.
Yeah, you didn't, and you didn't do it first. I mean, you've even remembered the guy's name. I mean, I've never heard of it. But
I think it was John Cage. I'm going to have to look that up now as we're talking.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, carry on, because I can multitask. You
can, but the last area I wanted to look at was, it's just the last bit of music, really, but it's where composers will intentionally design moments to evoke frisson, like in film scores, and which is why certain songs or scenes or performances become iconic and unforgettable. Because there's certain songs. I know that you take the mickey at me. Someone's got like a bit of a rom-com. But but I like it. I like Love Actually. There's some of the tracks on that They just
Well,
invoke
no, I completely agree with that. I agree with that because my favourite Christmas film, I think, or one of my favourites of that genre, is The Holiday.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And in fact, I was watching it yesterday, and the music in that, which I think is an original score, when you hear that, that gets you as well, even though you know what's going to happen. So I suppose that's what you're talking about there, isn't it?
It is. So
yeah, John Cage's famous silent piece is called 4 minutes 33 seconds.
Oh,
it was composed in 1952, where performers remained silent for the entire duration. So, fair enough.
Yeah, imagine trying to headbang up the front to that. You wouldn't have a mosh pit with it, would you? Wouldn't need that to go on.
Well, no, you wouldn't. But then, your ears would be less damaged.
Well, they would. Yeah, it might bring over a sense of calm.
How would you know it's finished as well? If you put it on the record player, you'd think, is that finished?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. It would only work really on the old vinyl when you could hear a slight scratch or a little click or whatever. A little bit of dust on the needle. But in these days of streaming, you wouldn't know, would you?
No, you wouldn't know where it started, ended.
You wouldn't. No, you'd be tapping the side of your device, wouldn't you? Saying, "Come on, there's something going wrong here." So that's it, really. I mean, it's Frisson is a key part of the emotional power of art. In all its ways.
So I'm guessing that for you, there isn't a great deal of frisson around the festive season related to the festive season, unless you're watching Love Actually.
Love Actually, I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
So that's it, really. So it helps. Frisson just helps you feel deeply connected to what you're experiencing. So it's this connection between what's happening and you.
Nice. I expect a lot of people get frisson when they listen to this, don't you?
Oh, of course they do. Yeah, that goes
if they're not falling asleep.
You then get past the soporific tones, and they're okay.
Exactly. So if you do experience a lot of frisson when you're listening to Sideways, do let us know.
Let us know,
We'll wait with bated breath for your emails.
Not for too long.
For 4 minutes, 33 seconds.
Yeah, that will be a John Cage example, wouldn't it? If we asked
bloody tumbleweed going across the...
So anyway, should we get onto the conundrum feature?
Yeah, now I've got to thank my daughter for this.
Oh, right, okay.
Because she's sitting downstairs, and I said, before I came upstairs, I said, I've got to get on with the podcast. I haven't got a conundrum. And she said, well, that's a conundrum in itself, which I thought was quite clever.
Yeah.
But then I said to her, no, I need a festive one, because it is kind of a festive episode. I know you won't like that, but...
Yeah, no, it's the one...
She came out with absolute corker.
Okay.
Within about 5 seconds.
Okay.
And here it is.
All right.
Is it okay for people to put garish, flashing Christmas lights on the front of their houses that everybody else can see?
Oh, okay. Which a lot of people do, don't they?
Which a lot of people do. And I've got particular skin in the game here.
Okay.
I don't know whether I should tell you about that before or afterwards.
Okay. Is it okay? Yeah. I think it's right if it's on their own property.
Oh, that's typically you. So you're a flipping curmudgeon and you're a right miserable Grinch around Christmas. But when it comes to people having annoying lights on the front of their houses, you're totally fine with it.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, because it's on their house. They do what they like. I wouldn't.
It might be on the front of their house, but what about the people who live opposite them?
If
you've got lights on the front of your house, you can't see them, can you? But the poor sods opposite can.
Yeah, true. Yeah. No, I'm all right with that. You can pull the curtains, can't you? It's
Well, you say that, but previously, in past years, before I put up new blinds in my bedroom, I used to have Venetian blinds, right?
Yeah.
My neighbour next door, I have to speak quietly in case you can hear me. He's got lights he puts on the front of his house every year, and they flash rapidly. That's what annoys me.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about, that rapid flashing, where you feel like you're having a seizure. And it didn't matter what angle I had my blinds at, I could still see these bloody lights flashing through onto my ceiling in my bedroom. It was very, very irritating.
So if you,
I think, and he'd kind of leave them on till flipping 11:30 at night, which obviously is virtually morning for me.
Yeah.
I just think that's antisocial, and I think people should be arrested and thrown in prison for doing that.
What for just flashing ones?
Yes, I don't have lights on the front of my house. I've got no problem with lights on the front of the house, but not aggressively flashing lights.
Would it be the sort of thing that if it was just about to be shown on TV, they'd give you an epilepsy warning?
Oh, absolutely.
Flashing lights.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not something...
It's like I am the fire starter. It was like, it's like the bloody Prodigy are doing a gig next door.
And it's not something, and you've obviously never mentioned it. You just put up with it.
Well, yeah, I put up with it because I think, as you say, legitimately, people can put whatever Christmas lights they like around their house. But I think people should think a little bit about their neighbours, other people who've got to suffer their horrendous lights.
We can imagine if you go down, there's a certain famous road in Maidstone which you can go down to, and people do, don't they, just to see the lights in Courtney Road in Maidstone. Yeah. They are, I've never seen anything like it. So I'd imagine that would really upset you if you lived opposite those, although it tends to be the people opposite are doing the same, so it's almost like a battle.
Yeah, I suppose that's fair enough. And actually, in a sense, if you move into a neighbourhood that has that reputation, then you've only got yourself to blame, haven't you?
You have, to a large extent, yeah. It's a bit like moving next to a train station and complaining about the noise of the trains. Yeah,
exactly. Or moving next to a pub and complaining about drunkards.
The noise and the sound. I remember someone living next door to a pub. In fact, they were attached to a pub, and they could hear the thud of darts going in the dartboard.
Crikey! Yeah, that is quite bad.
It is, yeah, that
is quite bad.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if you're going to have flashing lights on the front of your house, you should at least turn them off at a reasonable hour.
A reasonable time,
not the wee small hours at 11 o'clock at night.
So a curfew, you'd think would be...
Yeah, I think there should be a curfew. I think you should definitely not be allowed flashing lights on your house past 8 o'clock.
Past 8? Well, you're dragging it back from...
Well, that's where most people are in bed, aren't they? 8 o'clock?
Just going. I think your son is just going out about 11 o'clock.
Unless you're working nights, most people are in bed by then, aren't they?
Yeah, well, not 8 certainly, but yeah, I can see why it upsets. I can hear why it upsets you so much.
All right, I'm going to say 10. Right, I'm going to really push the hotel.
Okay, mate. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think you might need to lobby your local MP and see.
Well, there's no point in doing that. It's flipping Helen Grant, isn't it?
Helen Grant. Yeah, no, she won't sort it out for you, will she?
Total waste of space.
Anyway,
good.
We'll antidote this because we're going to go on to a gratitude list.
Oh, good idea. Who is it first?
I don't mind.
Well, I'll go first because you've got a light-hearted one this week.
No, mine's quite...
Oh, I know what yours is going to be, so I'll go first. Okay. I've this year, because we're coming to the end of the year, aren't we?
We are.
I've had a friend die, and I've currently got a relative seriously ill.
Okay.
And so when I was thinking today about what I wanted to put on my gratitude list, I'm just going to have I'm alive.
You're alive, yeah.
Wow. I think sometimes, I know we've had it quite a few times over the years, but sometimes you just think to yourself, actually, I'm just lucky to, be upright.
Yeah,
I'm reasonably healthy at the moment, and I'm still breathing. I mean, that is enough to give you a frisson, isn't it?
It is. And that's
so I'm having that this week.
And you're quite welcome to that because I think it's one that could be on your list every week, really, couldn't it? But
it'd get a bit boring if I put it on my list every week. But, it is on my list every week, but I just don't. Right. It doesn't necessarily feel quite so, prescient.
Yeah, I agree. Well, it leads into mine really because I'm happy to be alive to witness my youngest grandson's first birthday. So went down to his birthday party at the weekend, which was lovely. So just seeing his little face and and having.
You said he didn't make a speech to thank everyone though, which was a bit disappointing at one, isn't
it? It is. I thought he'd been brought up better than that, but there we go.
Well, look at his grandfather. I mean,
I've had to make lots of speeches over the years.
Yeah,
but he's
not learned anything, is he? In his 12 months.
No, he needs to wise up a little bit. He needs to get himself together a little bit. But it was lovely. So I was very grateful for that. Grateful to be alive, but grateful to be invited, and grateful for the experience.
Did he have a chocolate cake?
It wasn't chocolate. No, but it was a
Colin the Caterpillar cake.
It was a handmade cake, with number 1 on it and all that, and
all that, yeah. Jelly, ice cream. Do kids still have jelly for their parties?
No, not really. No, and we had sort of. It was quite. It's quite civilised, really, with sort of cake stands, but with with sandwiches and that on it and this sort of thing. Yeah, it's lovely.
Oh, that does sound nice.
Yes, well, Lizzie, my youngest, she pushed the boat out a little bit on that, which was
Very nice. Well,
she did a very good job.
Isaac.
Anyway, so we go on to the lyric challenge.
Yep.
Same format.
What's my best 6, isn't it? 6 is my best.
Best is 6.
Yeah.
So the 4 questions, first 3, worth 2 points each, and the last one's worth 4. So the first lyric is, "It smelt of pubs and wormwood scrubs."
Well, it's funny you should say this.
Okay.
Because I was thinking about this band earlier on, because you were talking about something else, and it made me think about them. So I've given everybody enough time, haven't I, now?
I think you probably have, yeah, so you can come up with your answer, yeah.
It's the Jam.
Yep.
Down in the tube station at midnight.
It is, yeah, 2 points. I know that's quite an ease in, but it's quite an iconic sort of lyric, I think, don't you?
Don't belittle my efforts. I've got to tell you something about the lyric quiz in a minute, which probably make you laugh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the second one is, "It's a god-awful small affair."
Is that enough time I've given?
It is, and this particular song, the intro gives me frisson.
Ah, yes. It probably would me. It's David Bowie.
Yes.
And Life on Mars.
It is, yeah.
Oh, I could still mess this up though, couldn't I?
Well, no, we still got a couple. You're going well so far.
Okay,
And the third one is, "I want to run, I want to hide, I want to tear down the walls."
I know this, but I can't think of what it is. How old is this, do we reckon?
Oh, I'd say this is probably late 80s, isn't it? No, early. No, it would be sort of 83, 84, probably, something like that.
I definitely know this.
It's in the 80s anyway.
I definitely know this. I want to run, I want to hide, I want to tear down the walls. Is it a band I like?
I'm not sure if you do or not. They're a bit too popular. You probably wouldn't. I don't like them.
Boston?
They're British, so I'm giving you a clue there.
Oh, I'm going to kick myself for this because I can hear it, but I can't place the song. I want to tear down the walls.
Actually, I'm going to give you a clue, a little bit of a clue.
Yeah.
Actually, I think they're not British, they're Irish.
Oh. Oh, it's U2.
It is U2.
And is it Where the Streets Have No Name?
It is, yes. This is it.
I don't think you can really, I don't think I can have a point for the band because you kind of gave that to me. But I think it's fair enough for me to have a point for the lyric.
I'd given you the wrong info, hadn't I, saying they were British when they...
Yeah, and otherwise I definitely would have got it immediately.
You would straight away, so I threw you off, if anything. So the 4-pointer is, "Last night I dreamt of San Pedro."
It's Madonna, La Isla Bonita.
It is, yes. There, you got the first time we got the 4-pointer. So
I'm never going to beat that, am I? I'm never going to beat that because I think I only dropped a point.
You did. Well, that's it. You could have had 10 there, but we certainly give you 9 so that you can...
Yeah, I think I can only have 9. I can only with clear conscience have 9, which brings me to what I was going to tell you about.
Okay.
Now, I won't name anybody because that would be wrong because we haven't got any permission. But somebody, I believe known to you, on Facebook every week writes a little comment about how much they enjoyed the episode and then gives a score, which is the score they had on the lyric quiz.
Yeah.
Up until only about a week ago, I thought they were giving a score for the quality of the episode. And I was looking at that and I was thinking, 6 out of 10, that's not great, is it?
That's a bit harsh. Yeah.
You can't say you really enjoyed it and then give us a 6 out of 10. So I was feeling a bit miffed, and then suddenly the penny dropped. I thought, see, that's a lyric quiz, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when I realised, I got a little frisson.
Did you?
I had a pylo erection.
Oh, so that's.
I thought you'd enjoy. I thought you'd enjoy that.
I've enjoyed that, but I think if whoever puts that comment on,
Yeah.
and if they got 9 out of 10 to beat, it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, come on, everybody, 9 out of 10. That's not bad. That's pretty festive, isn't it?
It is. It is. Yeah.
I'm quite surprised you didn't choose Christmas songs this week.
Well, I was going to, but I think it would have been a bit too easy because the lines I was looking at there were.
Yeah,
I was looking at Slade and that and Mud and no. I didn't want to.
Yeah, I probably would have got them. Actually, that would have been, there would have been a lot of jeopardy in that, because if I hadn't got those classics, that would have been shameful, wouldn't it?
Yeah, there would have been, really.
Yeah. All right.
So that's it then, mate, really.
That's it, probably for this year, isn't it?
It is for this year, isn't it? Yeah.
So we should probably wish all of our listeners a happy festive season if they're observing Christmas or anything else.
Yeah.
And if they're not, if you just, like you, a Grinch, just wish them Godspeed to get through it as quickly as possible.
Yeah. And thanks for sticking with us for another year.
Yeah,
it's been a joy.
Hopefully, you'll have a fuller and more enjoyable life next year.
Good work. All okay, mate. Thank you.
All right, then. See you then.
Laters.
Bye. Bye.
Sideways was created by Graham Landy and Martin Pankhurst. If you want to read more about our work or sort through the extensive archive of past episodes, just visit grahamlandywellbeing.co.uk/sideways-podcast. You can follow us on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram at Sideways Podcast, and you can email us if you have a question or if there's something you'd like us to cover. But most of all, we want to tell you how grateful we are that you come and listen, and we ask that if you've enjoyed what you've heard, that you spread the word. And we'll see you next week.